Let's go.
All righty.
Brilliant. Just filling up to 100.
Morning, guys. How is everyone? Good morning, Paul, too. Sorry, I forgot to say hi.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, Ray. How are you? Hey, John, Jason. Hi, Lara. Good morning, Caroline, Matt. Lots of people I know. I'm delighted to see you all, and today's going to be cool. I got some ninja stuff to show you today. All right. When everyone is in the room, I'll kick it off. So just let me know.
Are you streaming this on Facebook or doing the same as yesterday, just recording it?
Would you like me to stream it on Facebook? I probably can.
As
soon as I started doing that, it dumped the whole thing though. So
let's leave that then.
Yeah, let's leave it. I'll upload it to Facebook when we're gone.
Perfect.
Matt G, yeah, I am a bit knackered. It's been a bruising week for me. After this is over, I'm going to have a little break, and then I'm going to put a whole day's work into discretionary crypto stuff for the accelerator. All right. I think that's about as many as we're going to get, right? Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, guys, you can all see my screen, right? Please let me know at any point if I'm doing anything stupid. Sean, one trade last night for one win, 100% win rate. Well, I'm going to show you how to do some really cool stuff today, Sean. So welcome to day 2 of the Crypto Salary System webinar. It is my absolute great honor, lifetime honor, and a real sincere pleasure to be able to share this with you. And as always, may you all realize what you are truly looking for. May you pursue it relentlessly, overcoming all obstacles, and may you find it. So if you missed the last webinar, don't worry, I'm going to do a brief recap now. And Ian is going to post all the slides, the recording, the PDF materials, and the last thing was on the, is now, I redid it. And the last webinar is on the YouTube channel. It wasn't recorded at a high enough resolution through some administrative bungle, which is ultimately my fault. And so, yeah, so we re-recorded it yesterday. There's a high-res version on my Scott Phillips Trading YouTube channel. Okay. So this is not a sales pitch, promise. I mean, of course, I got something to sell, but what I particularly hate is turning up to a presentation and watching an hour of like really slow, glacial pace fluff talk, where I tell you about how much money you're going to make and you learn absolutely nothing. And then you get an elaborate sales pitch. And if that shits you to tears, just put it in the chat, because that literally shits me to tears. I'm not going to do that. And I know some of the Muppets in the chat think that this is all a wind up, that sure, I gave you a whole pile of good stuff last time, but that's probably just an elaborate setup like for a sales pitch this time, and that you aren't going to get the full system for free, that you're going to have to pay some money to get what you need. And that you probably think there's probably people in the chat who think that you've been suckered and this is a whole big sucker play. And I have to ask, who hurt you? Who hurt you guys? Like, today is nothing held back, as well, like always. There's no half knowledge, no crucial pieces that you need missing. I'll answer every question, all the written rules, the slides, the materials, the recording. You can watch as many times as you want. And I should let you know that my marketing team hate this idea. My marketing team tell me that the best way to make money off these things is to show them nothing and take them nowhere, and give you like this much and then make you pay. And I'm not going to do it. Yeah, so fuck my marketing team. Okay, that's looking weird. I see what. Okay. Okay, so to recap, here is the trading system such as we've learned so far. So first of all, we need one of our two mean reversion setups on the 15-minute chart, either the RTV or the RTC, and hopefully one of my guys will post those materials in the chat so you can download them. And confirming evidence on the 30-minute chart, either trend with pullback or a Bollinger touch on the 30-minute. And confirming evidence on the 60-minute, either trend with pullback or Bollinger touch. So let's look at that again. That's important. So you need a mean reversion setup, either long or short on the 15-minute chart. And you need confirming evidence, either trend with pullback or Bollinger touch on the 30, and confirming evidence, either trend with pullback or Bollinger touch on the 60-minute. The setup is complete then for a long, and it's opposite for a short. We place an order to go long on a break of the bar high. It's a stop order. Place a stop loss 1 tick below the Bollinger touch bar low. And the target is 2 times the distance from your entry point to the stop loss. And real traders call that your risk or your R. It's called your risk because it's how much you lose if things go bad. Therefore, for every $1 you risk if you lose, you get back $2 if you win. And if you don't understand that, let me just show you a quick example. So here's a short trade that just popped off a few minutes ago. We have touch of the upper Bollinger. We have a lower close. We have a higher close. The setup is complete. You go, if we have confirming evidence, you go short on the low of this bar with a stop loss here. This is right now in real time, by the way. Now, do we have confirming evidence on the 30-minute chart? Let's look at here. You can see this bar also touches the Bollinger on the 30-minute. We have confirming evidence. Do we have confirming evidence on the 60-minute chart? Do we touch the Bollinger? No, we don't. Do we have our other type of confirming evidence where we're trending down and we have a pullback at least to the moving averages? Obviously, we're trending down. Obviously, that pullback has reached at least the moving averages. So we do have a valid setup. It's kicked off and we are short here with a stop loss here. During the, we'll come back and revisit this towards the end of the day and we'll see if this bad boy works or if it doesn't work. Hi, Simon. Okay, so has everyone got that? Like this is the thing you need to understand. We can just quickly look at a long setup. So when's the last long setup I took here? A couple of days ago. Okay. So this is a long setup, took a couple of days ago and looks, didn't quite make the 2R target. It made 1R and then reversed for a break-even trade. We have a touch of the lower Bollinger. We also have a touch of the lower Bollinger on the 60 and the 30. We have one or more higher closes. We have a lower close. We got long here, stop loss here. It looked pretty good and just fizzled out. It happens a lot, actually. So we didn't lose any money. We didn't make any money. It went up to here. As soon as it made 1R, we move our stop loss to break even. And then it stopped us out over here. No biggie. All right, guys. Nikhil, confirming evidence is only in one direction. So that is a very good question. So in a practical sense, it can't happen. But if we need short confirming evidence, if we need long confirming evidence, it has to be a lower Bollinger touch. It can't be an upper Bollinger touch. If we need long confirming evidence, it has to be an uptrend. It can't be a downtrend. So, Scott, we're going to get into times of day and how often you do this. And Jim, yes, you lose fees and a little bit of slippage on a break-even trade. It's not a big deal. It works out to be about 5%, and I'll explain that later because we're entering in a stop limit here. Our target hits a stop limits, so we're paying maker fees and not taker fees, which are lesser fees when we hit here. The only time that we're really in danger of paying the full amount of fees and being exposed to slippage is when we get a stop out for either a break even or a loss. All right, so. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so let's make sure that you understand both turning trend mode on and turning trend mode off. Trend mode turning on is a two-step process. Step one, touch of the Bollinger Band. Step two, a single candle making a higher high and a higher close. Let me just review that. All right. Here we go. Step one, touch of the lower Bollinger for a short trend. Step two, a single candle making a lower high, lower low, and a lower close. So we start trending there. What turns us off trending is two things. Touching the upper Bollinger, we stop trending there, or making 20 bars without a new low. Let's look at it for a long trade as well. No, that's a short trade. Okay, so for a long trade, touch the upper Bollinger. Secondly, for a long trend, touch the upper Bollinger. Second is step one. Step two, a single candle making a higher high and a higher close. We start trending at the close of this bar. We continue trending until we have either a touch of the opposite Bollinger, which happens most of the time. We stop trending here, or if we didn't touch that opposite Bollinger and we went 20 bars from the high, not including the high. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about that. All right. Makes sense to everyone? Okay. So why am I giving this away? Here's the deal. I mean, I've got something to sell. Of course, I run a business, but what I sell is my personal help, and I sell my personal help implementing the system that you will discover today. You may not and probably don't need this. You probably just need to pay close attention to what you're going to see today. You will have, and I promise you, you will have 100% of what you need. There's nothing left out, nothing held back. So I promise you there's nothing held back, and my word is iron about this stuff. Like, you get it all today, you get the slides, the recordings, the written rules, the whole enchilada. Of course, I'm selling something at the end, but truly you don't need it. It just makes it easier. All I'm going to do is save you time, save you making mistakes that I personally made, and make certain that you get the result you want. All I'm offering is a shortcut. I'm not offering, there's no magic secrets. There is no secrets. You know, the secret of trading is that there are no secrets, and the other secret of trading is they don't want you to know there are no secrets. Okay, so we've got our RTV mean reversion set up and our RTC mean reversion set up. Hopefully someone's posted the links to those downloads in the chat. We've got our confirming evidence Bollinger touch we've covered, and the trending we just covered, placing stops and targets we've covered. We're good to go. So let's talk about positive carry. So today's presentation is on positive carry. So carry is the amount that you get paid to own a trade. And I need you to stick with me here because this is complicated stuff, but if you get it, the whole thing falls into place. So So the technical definition, the one in all the finance textbooks, is carry is the difference between the spot price and the future price. Don't forget, we're trading futures here. And this is important. You'll understand why in a minute. So we also have carry trades in other markets. Most notably, people understand that carry trades are in FX. So if you're an FX trader and you have an account with an FX broker, and if you buy AUD JPY or any number of carry trades, actually, AUD USD or GBP JPY, where one has a low interest rate and one has a high interest rate, your broker will pay you the interest rate differential between those, not just on the little amount in your account, but on the whole amount that you're trading. Because don't forget, when you buy AUD JPY, technically you're synthetically borrowing. If you buy one full lot, $1 million worth of AUD JPY, you're borrowing $1 million worth of Aussie dollar. You're borrowing $1 million worth of Japan yen and putting it in the bank as $1 million worth of Aussie dollars. So you get the Aussie dollar interest rate less the JPY interest rate. So that interest rate differential can be, 1 to 2% is massive on FX, because don't forget, we're running at 30 to 1 leverage, right? So 2% on 30 to 1 leverage is 60% a year. It's monstrous. And it's a huge earn for doing nothing for banks and for FX traders. And it tilts the roulette wheel in one side. And the banks are all over this shit, like a fat kid on a Snickers bar. So let's talk about positive carry in other markets, because this positive carry exists everywhere. Most notably right now, there's weird positive carry stuff in wheat and grain markets and all kinds of stuff. So let's say you own a shipping company. You need to buy oil all the time. You need to buy oil, but with all this stuff going on in Ukraine, you don't know what the oil price is going to be for a year. So you go to the futures market and you lock in the amount of oil that you're going to need for next year. And so you check, this is the CME website a couple of days ago. And so May crude is selling for $104. June crude, a little cheaper. July crude, a little cheaper again. August and September, $99. So it's what? It's about what, 5% cheaper a few months out? So if you short crude oil futures here, and that stays the same, if the market stays flat, does nothing, you can buy those crude oil futures back here and make about 5% for doing nothing over 1, 2, 3, 4 months. 5% over 4 months is 15% a year. It's not a bad earn. Like, people will do that. It's an attractive yield. So the short trader in this instance has positive carry. I know this is a bit technical, but so positive carry is exceptionally powerful. And I want you to consider the spot price. This is a monthly chart of natural gas going way back before the great financial crisis. So you can see that it crashed and then did this choppy thing for years and years, and now it's running again. But you cannot trade natural gas on the spot price. You can't, because natural gas has to be stored somewhere. It has to be shipped. It has to be insured. Like, you can only trade either the ETF, or you can buy futures every month and then roll them to the next month. Natural gas futures roll over on the third Friday of every month. And so what that looks like, let's look at the chart of USO, which is an ETF that just buys the futures every month and sells them at the end of the month. So get this one in your head now, the way that this looks. And this is after the futures rollover. This is the UNG, sorry, not USO is crude. UNG, this is the amount that you actually would have paid to buy natural gas. And you can see it's been one of the strongest and most persistent downtrends in all of recorded history. Just amazing. It's lost, 99% of value, or whatever. So long traders paid negative carry, and they paid it to the short traders who earned positive carry. Because of the positive carry on the short trade, this is one of the best trades ever, like ever. And put simply, carry trading works. And you might have seen, if you've done a bit of trading, the traders stay up all night to watch these central bank interest rate announcements, the FOMC day and all that stuff. And interest rates set the carry trade. And the carry trade is the biggest deal in finance. It's $3 trillion currently with a T, and it's the biggest deal. It's like, this is the thing that people are most interested in, is what the Fed's going to do, right? Like, what is the Fed going to do? Why are they interested in that? They're interested in that because it sets the carry trade, and the carry trade is the biggest deal in finance. But there's no central bank in crypto, right? So how does it work with crypto? Like, is the edge is strong? Is it weaker? Is it stronger? Like, what? How does it even work? Who sets it? Like what the fuck? And so that's what we're going to cover today. So let's talk about the perpetual futures, crypto perpetual futures. And the clue is in the name, the perpetual. So remember how we looked at these oil futures we're delivering in a certain month? Well, that doesn't happen with crypto futures. There are quarterly futures, but there's also perpetual futures. And these perpetual futures, they run perpetually and they don't expire, which is a technical problem. Like, if you think about it, every long has to have a short. There is no, I'm just going to short this unless there's someone on the other side of my trade. But there are times when you'd have to be an idiot to short crypto. And there are times you'd have to be insane to go long crypto. And if there wasn't some way of leveling the playing field, there'd be times when the markets would have to close. There'd just be no sellers and there'd be no buyers. So we need a balancing mechanism. And the perpetual funding rate is that balancing mechanism. So the way that it works, there's different mechanisms with different exchanges, but they're all very similar. If the funding rate is positive, longs pay shorts an interest rate to trade. And if the funding rate is negative, shorts pay longs an interest rate to trade. Now, that interest rate is on the full value of their position, including leverage. It's not on the amount in their account. So it's very, very leveraged up. So I'm going to say this louder for the people in the back. This is the key. If the funding rate is positive, longs pay shorts to trade. And if the funding rate is negative, shorts pay longs to trade. Don't worry, this is all going to fall into place pretty soon. Now, there's a trick to this. Like, these rates sound pretty small, just 0.1% per day or less. But when you compound interest every single day, compound interest is, according to Einstein, is the eighth wonder of the world. When you compound it daily, it adds up real quick. So let's do an example from today's live data. Let's go to coinglass.com. Let's click on funding rate. Let's thought. Sorry. So Ronin is the strongest negative edge. Let's look at the strongest positive edge. Is Glimmer, GLMR. So minus 0.4176. So let's put that in here. Let me just. And then. Sorry, I probably should have worked this out in advance instead of trying to do maths while I'm here. And this one is J2. Actually, I'm not going to do that because I've got to do actual real maths here and I'll probably mess it up. But anyway, so I did it with 0.02. And if we scroll down by 30 days, we're paying 5.78 interest. By 60 days, and don't forget this example here is twice as much. So by 60 days, we're at 12% interest. By 90 days, we're at 19% interest. 100 days, 20% interest. 120 days, 26%, 150 days we're at 30%, 200 days we're at 48%, 250 days we're at 64% interest for the year, 300 days we're at 81% interest. By the time we get to 365 days for the year, we're at 106%. So that was starting off with 0.2 of 1%. And you can see that this funding rate today is actually way higher. It's 3 times higher. So this is like more than a 300% interest rate per year being paid on the carry trade. So the actual trades that we're going to be taking are the strongest edges, the strongest interest rates we're going to get paid. So on today's example, that trade, you would be paid somewhere in the order of 300% per year to take that. It's an extraordinarily strong inducement to take a trade in a certain direction. And it works the other way. If you take the trade in the opposite direction, you pay that interest rate. So let's get this straight. So carry in FX is 1 to 3%. And that's enough of an incentive to invest trillions. And carry in perpetual futures, well, that one there would have easily been 300% per year compounded daily. And who in their right mind would take a trade where you have to pay 300% a year to take the trade? Who would be that fucking stupid? Not me. And what regulator would allow that? I mean, there's a reason why the US doesn't particularly like this sort of trading. And who would bet against that? And this is an incredibly powerful incentive for traders to bet in the direction of the positive carry. This is a very, very exploitable phenomenon. So let's think it through. We don't ever pay 100 to 300% to take a trade. We take the other side of that trade. So we are the ones earning the interest. So what we do is we're filtering our trades and we're only taking the ones where we receive this 100% per year or more. We only take the trades where we're being paid an absolutely egregious interest rate to take the trade. Because we're being paid an absolutely insanely high interest rate to take the trade, there's going to be other guys who also want to take that trade. So you look at the chart and you think it's a 50-50 coin flip. It's not a coin flip because people will take the trade in the direction of the interest rate. It tilts the roulette wheel, makes us more likely to win. And that data is extremely unequivocal about showing how that plays out. And it also plays out in every other market that we've ever seen. It's been documented for over 100 years. It's one of the biggest deals in finance. And we can play it here because these new crypto perpetual futures exchanges, they hide this in the fine print. So you kind of don't figure it out. And once you figure it out, like a light bulb goes off and you go, oh, wow. So let's understand this from first principles. The futures market has a huge influence on the spot markets, especially this run, not so much in 2017. Because of their leverage, the futures markets buy and sell more than the whales at this point, because the whales are just sticking it in their wallet and forgetting about it. The futures guys are buying and selling and zigging and zagging. So the whales aren't really in the market, and it's the leverage traders who are really doing the driving up and down every single day. And leverage trading doesn't make a lot of sense from a professional point of view if you have to pay 100 to 200% per year to do it. So smart traders, institutional traders, and whales will only trade when they are earning that money, not when they're paying it. And the dumb money, the no KYC moon boys and with the shitty Kmart exchanges, they do not understand how this works. They've never even taken the time to figure it out. And the exchanges don't want them figuring it out. That's why they quote these interest rates that are 0.0000 something per day, because they know that almost no one is going to take the time to work out, well, what's that per year? And go, holy shit, I'm not paying 300% per year. So which side do you want to be on, and who do you want to bet on? So in one corner, we've got the smartest, best capitalized traders in the game. And on the other corner, we have a bunch of, it's my first day traders using 100 to 1 leverage on these tiny shit coins, hoping for a lottery win. You want to bet on this guy every time. So let me show you a couple of different ways of how this works in practice. And I'm going to go fetch the funding rates. There's two easy ways. You can get it from your broker, any broker. There's a bunch of free websites. The one I use is coinglass.com. But there's other ones. I use ftx.com/funding as well, because it lets me download the data in a CSV instead of making me screenshot it. So let me just show you both of these. So FTX, I go to FTX funding and I click on this, which is download CSV. It downloads the data for me. I prefer to have it downloaded because that way I've got a copy of it. If I just go to CoinGlass and I search by bullish edge, these are the bullish edges in order, and these are the bearish edges in order, I have to take a screenshot. Now I get a screenshot. Either way is fine. The screenshot is quicker. The downloading is what I prefer. Okay. So it's probably easier at this point if I just do it for you, and then we take some questions. So this is a real system. So if you're watching this thinking, oh, I can't do this, this is too hard. Yes, of course, it's too hard today. If you practice a little bit, there is a learning curve with it. Like anything that's worth doing, there's a learning curve to it. It's not a big learning curve. It's not as much as you think now. I'm going to do it, and we'll see how long it takes. And I'm going to do it kind of slowly, so you get it, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. Okay, so step one is to sort the funding rate list to find the strongest edges. So you can do it either of those two ways that I talked about. You can go to your broker website, you can go to Binance.com, you can go to FTX.com, you can go to Bybit or Upbit. And step two, you can go down the list, excluding what I call untradeable shitcoins. Now, untradeable shitcoins have these little dash bars, And what a dashed bar means is that in this 15-minute period, no one traded. I don't want to be in a market where there's only market makers, because after an hour of no one trading, if someone enters a sell at market order, this is probably just one guy selling that crashed it. So these are terrible markets to trade. You don't want to go this. So step one is you sort the funding rate list. Step two is you go down the list, excluding the untradeable shitcoins until you have 2 trades. And once you have 2 trades, you stop. So, all right, so let's do it. Okay, so I just downloaded the data. I'm going to go. I could do it by taking a screenshot. I'm going to do it the complicated way. I'm going to import a file. I'm going to upload that funding rate CSV that I just downloaded in Google Sheets. Instead of creating a new spreadsheet, I'm just going to put it in a new tab here. Okay, these are the data unsorted. Now, I could make an absolute value formula and blah, 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 and sort them in order. Instead, I'm just going to make 2 copies of it here. Okay, now I'm going to take these ones and go data, sort range, advanced sorting operations. Data has a head row, and I'm going to sort by this row, which is object. I'm going to sort A to Z, top to bottom. Now I'm going to do the same thing. Data, sort range, advanced sorting options. Now I'm going to sort from Z to A, these ones. So these ones are sorted from, these ones are bearish edges, AMPL, Ronin, Uniswap, and these are bullish edges, SRN, Glimmer, BOW. All right, so I happen to know that SRN is an untradeable shitcoins, but I'll just prove that to you. So you can see that this one we can't trade. So you just move on to the next one. GLM Perp. Now, while we're here, I want you to see that these numbers are in general bigger than these numbers. So what I usually do is so far we've got bullish edges down to 2.000255 is the strongest bearish edge. So we want to take the strongest. We want to take the strongest edges. Actually, AMPL is a stronger bearish edge than Glimmer right now. Okay, so let's look at AMPL. It's a positive funding rate, so we're looking for a bearish trade. Okay, now this is very common. When I sat down to do this morning, the market was trading somewhere down here, and you have to, most of the time, you're going to not be here at the very perfect time to take this trade, right? So what you do is you set a limit order to get in. And so we have a touch of the upper Bollinger, we have a lower close, and we have a higher close. This trade is complete here. Do we have confirming evidence? On the 30-minute chart, we have a touch of the upper Bollinger, so we have confirming evidence. On the 60-minute chart, we have a clear downtrend with a pullback at least to the moving averages. So we have trending confirming evidence. So what I'd like to point out is that even though this is a mean reversion trade on the 15-minute chart, it's in the direction of the dominant trend on the 60-minute chart. So it's a good trade. If you are here right now, this second, you place a limit order on this bar, and if it goes away without filling you do not chase. You never chase. There's like 500 of these things. You just keep going down until you get a fill. So we would place this order to get short here. Our target is 2 times our distance from here to here. So let's do it from first principles. Our entry point is 1.0053. Our stop loss is 1.0126. (1.0126) minus 1.0053, and obviously I'd use a spreadsheet, but I don't want to do that. 0.0073 is our risk, and so our target is 0.9907, right here. So this is your trade. Either we hit this line and we lose our money. We hit this line and we make twice our money. That's what we do. Okay, you've got one trade. You need two. We're going to cover why two and only two, and why it's not sensible to do more in a minute. All right, let's look up here. SRN was untradeable. Let's look at Glimmer, which is a bullish edge. Glimmer perp. Oh, so before we started this, I had this here. This was not a trade, actually. Okay, so this trade way back here touched the lower Bollinger on both timeframes. So this is a trade, but this one here has no confirming evidence. This one is not a trade, and it's run away past us. Like the funding rate edge is predicting that it goes up, and it is going up, but we're just too late. We just missed it. So we go down to the next one, which is Uniswap over here. Ronin. Let's look at Ronin. Ronin has one of these dash bars, so I would not be taking this trade right now, and it has no confirming evidence. So there's no trade there. The next one we want to look at, Uniswap. Okay, this is a bearish edge. We have Bollinger Touch, we have Bollinger Touch. We don't have any trades setting up yet, so it would be a mistake to go short here. So we just keep going down until we get one. Let's look at Bow Perp. We have no trade because we have no Bollinger Touch. Let's go look at Rook Perp. So this is probably the most, and you can't trade that because it's got these weird bars. Let's look at Oxy Perp. I know is a shitcoin. Let's look at Lux Perp. So this is probably the most complicated one that I've seen, and we don't have a lower Bollinger Touch, so we don't have a trade. I know these are all very shady shitcoins, and now Media and AXS are probably the only ones I know. No, that's untradeable. Okay, so AXS perp is a negative funding rate, so we're looking for a bullish trade, and we missed the bullish trade. It already happened here. That's that bus is left. So it looks like this morning we're only going to have one trade, which is quite unusual. That's the first time I've seen it. So what was the trade? It was Glimmer, right? No, that was not the trade. It was AMPL. So this is our trade in AMPL. Now, I think what I should do is show you how to test how this would have gone. So if we take, for example, Glimmer, we can go to the funding rate here and go to Glimmer. If we click on that, it's going to bring up a chart of the funding rate over a longer period of time. We can change this to 5-minute bars, and we can see that the exact moment that the funding rate switched negative. Now we can take a look and see, okay, in this period, how did these trades go? When we were looking for bullish trades because the funding rate is negative. Let's go back a bit. So that switched here a couple of days ago. You can see here, we do not have a trade because we do not have confirming evidence, even though it would have worked. Here, this one, we do have a trade because it touched the lower Bollinger on the 60-minute and the 30-minute. And this one, long here, stop loss here, wouldn't be quite at the target yet, but it would be very close. The target would be somewhere up here. So let's recap. How do we do it? we go to the funding rate at CoinGlass or at your broker. We search by either positive edges. Sorry, the last one was bearish edges. These are bullish edges. And we just go down this list until we get 2 trades. Make sense, everyone? David, why the difference on funding rates through exchanges? Some exchanges play different games, but in technical terms, the funding rate is the difference between the spot and the future price. Dom, there is no risk reward rate filter, no high and tight. Robert, both trades can be in the same direction. We take the two strongest edges, the 2 strongest numbers. So we are direction agnostic. Julian, Wu Trade is a superb choice because you don't pay fees. It's fee free. So, Mr. Norton, a negative number is a bullish edge and a positive number is a bearish edge. Yes, you probably will have to watch these a couple of times. Do you choose the coin by liquidity? I don't know what you mean, Byron. I exclude the coins that I don't think are tradable. So my idea of a coin that's tradable is it has a real chart. If a chart looks like this with weird looking dodgy bars, I consider that untradable. So liquidity for me is a yes or no. It's like, have we got enough liquidity? Tony, there's no minimum funding rate magnitude threshold. Because we're searching through 500 different coins, it was I considered adding it, but there was a really good question, by the way. So Tony's question is there a minimum? Is there but what we're doing, think about it, is we're searching through 500 different coins to find the strongest. It's almost certain that the strongest will be decent. Nick Hill, do we use the decreasing volatility mode? No, that's a complexity that I completely took out of it. And no, we don't trade the hammers and shooting stars. Jason Whetstone, the funding rate is negative. Yes, you want to trade long. When you say, Zed Eddie, when you say 2 trades, do you mean 1 long or 1 short, or does it matter? No, it does not matter. You take the 2 strongest edges, and which are the first to go. So the first 2 trades you're on, you're out. Okay, Thomas, explain to be sure how we're not on the paying edge of the interest. This is very important. If this number is a negative, shorts pay longs. So you want to be a long and you don't want to be a short. If this number is a positive, longs pay shorts. So you want to be a short, you don't want to be a long. How do you decide how much leverage to use? AF, that's a really good question. So if you watch the video from the first day, I explain leverage, but in practical terms, most professional traders don't look at leverage. We look at the difference between the stop loss and the target. So let's say that you're going long here, stop loss is here, and you're risking $1,000. Most likely the position size for this will be about $50,000, most likely, just eyeballing it. How much capital do you need to have a reasonably comfortable, safe leverage at $50,000 position size? I would say about $20,000. I would say about $20,000 minimum. I aim to not really go above 3-to-1 leverage. 3-to-1 leverage is really quite a lot for me. Andrew Lockwood, is the carry rate exchange specific? Yes, it is, and particularly Binance plays games with the carry rate. They kind of rip some of their customers off. So FTX, you can use any exchange that plays reasonably fair. Some people use a blended average of all the exchanges. Glassnode does that. I've just been using the FTX funding rate because they seem to play fairly fair. Brian Fudge, 2 trades, 1 long and 1 short. No, the two first trades, regardless of long or short. Why 2 trades? We're going to cover it in a minute. Would you ever consider presenting this class for idiots? Yeah, sure. Lara, good question. Why were there 3 SRN perps? Because these are snapshots taken at different times. T21, T22, T23. Is it good to trade on low volume weekends? Yes, it is. The market moves like a motherfucker on weekends. Okay, so the interest rate per year is an equivalent. So if you're getting 300% per year, you're not getting 300%, but you're getting 300% per year while you're in the trade. So even if you're in a trade every day, you're getting 100% per year today, 200% tomorrow, 300% the day after. If you're while you're in a trade, you're getting the interest rate. And this idea that the interest rate doesn't matter because we're only in a trade a few hours, that's what the edge comes from. The edge comes from these dumb as a bucket of hair fucking crypto degenerates who think, oh, what do I care about paying a fifth of a percent? I'm going to make $1 million. You're paying 300% a year. Sean, I don't want to get into trade platforms today because it's really beginner stuff. You can get it at you can get it at every exchange. And as soon as I load up one exchange, I can tell you I'm going to get a torrent of my most hated and the world's dumbest question, which is, why would I do that on my exchange? What about this exchange? They won't let me join, and it's your fault. And I fucking hate that. We do have a document. Paul has joined all these exchanges using a VPN from America. So we figured out which ones you can join as an American and which ones you can't. And Paul, if you could post that in the chat, that would be great. Okay, if Jeremy Lim, if there's a setup, the first candle after this setup is complete doesn't get triggered, you shift your entry price down. Do you also shift the take profit price and recalculate position size? Technically, yes, but I'm kind of lazy. So if it's a small deal, I don't. My priority is getting the order on, exactly the same as FX. How did you arrive at the 500 coins to monitor? The list of 500 coins. So I'm just trading on the list off FTX. Tom, I don't really want to open up trade platforms today because I'm going to get the world's dumbest questions. You guys are going to have to figure out how to enter a trade. It's very beginner stuff. If you can't do that, this isn't for you. Dale, is there a reason why the 15-minute time frame has selected? Yes, there was. We trade FX on the 2-minute time frame, and there's a couple of problems with that. First of all, 2-minute time frame, very tight risk, so massive position sizes. So brokerage fees and trading fees are a huge percentage of profits. I was upset with that, and I didn't want to do it. With this system, I wanted a system that we could get on, do our work very quickly, hopefully in a few minutes to half an hour max, and then walk away. So 15-minute was the if I looked at an hour, you might have to be sitting in front of the computer for 3 or 4 hours. Here, you go through, you place your orders, you're out. You can be one and done in 15 minutes, 6 to 15 minutes. We are the casino. Yes, we are. Does the carry rate generally hold? No, it doesn't. It wiggles about all over the place. So let's have a look at how the AMPL funding rate has gone. This is 2330 to 554. So this is the last 6 hours. Oh, sorry. Let me share my screen. This is the last 6 hours of AMPL. You can see it was negative, and it gave a book. Now check this out. Let's zoom in. So you can see the market here went up substantially when we had a bullish edge. And now we have a bearish edge and it's gone down substantially. So the last 6 hours, it flipped around. Some of them, let's look at Uniswap, has been bearish edge the whole way down. And you can see, started here, bearish edge, and now we're a lot lower than we were. Let's look at Looks, bullish edge all the way down. Okay. Okay, Simon, really good question. Can you enter into more than 2 trades a day if one or both of the early ones settle? Yes, you can. If you get stopped out of a trade or you hit your target, you can optionally reload. Why can you do that? Because you don't have any open risk, and you can take risk if you want. If you're sitting in front of the screen and if you're right there, you may as well throw another one. And that adds about 30% to monthly profit if you're doing just one. If you take two trades and one completes, but the other is still on, can you enter another trade? Yes, you can, Rob. How long do you plan to hold your trades for? Until they either hit the stop loss where you lose your money, or until they hit your target. Caden, funding rates are baked into the process. There's nothing extra needed to take advantage of the positive carry. You don't need to do any staking or any bullshit or anything else. It's just all automatically, you just get it. You can 1 to 2 trades. Can you do one before work and one after work? You can, if your trades have completed during the time when you're at work. So about half the time that's going to be the case, especially if you have a losing trade. Losing trades, it's important to understand that losing trades happen quicker than winning trades. So your losing trades are probably going to be over in a couple of hours. Your winning trades might last 2 days. Does this work on higher timeframes? Yes, it absolutely does. And by the way, this would be very, very, very suspect if it didn't work on higher timeframes. Lewis, good question. If you use FTX for looking at interest rates, do you have to trade also on FTX exchange? No, not at all. I just use FTX because they appear to be an honest exchange. Once the 2 trades exit, I can re-enter 2 more. Correct, Patrick. What maximum drawdown? Very, very low, and rolling 6 months sharp. It'd be very difficult. It'd be very difficult to put a sharp on this right now, because intraday trading posts these artificially crazy high Sharpe ratios, because Sharpe ratio is a function of the square root of number of trades to a certain extent. So I wouldn't want to put a Sharpe on it. Would make it look better than it would. It'd be a Sharpe of something like 4 or something stupid. The mathematical expectation so far has been 0.71. So I think that's probably just a really good period. And my experience is that we're getting 0.71 in real trading now, and we've got 0.71 on the back test. My experience is that you can only really count on about 75% of what a back test produces. So I'm banking long-term on 0.5 expectancy, which is, you bet $1,000, you get $500 on average. That's a really good question. I covered it in detail in the first one. How quickly can the funding rate flip? So sometimes it can hold for a long period of time. Well, let's look at it on an 8-hour chart. We'll see how often it flips. So this one looks has been solid, but let's pick. Uni's been all over the place. Mana. So these are 8-hour bars, by the way. So you can see it. They can flip around a lot. And we only rely on the stop loss to protect us from that. This is not the kind of thing where you want to be sitting in front of the screen watching it. How do you know, Mark Hobbs, how do you know the strongest numbers in negative funding rate compared to positive funding rate? A bigger number is a stronger edge, period. Bigger number. Devin, I suggest watching the video on our YouTube channel of the first one. Clive, this doesn't work as a signal service because you really have to be in front of the thing. We could make it a signal service and you get an alert and say jump in front. Robert, honestly, I think 2 times leverage is totally fine. I've been quite aggressive, and I think I've gone above 3 times leverage once. What's average portfolio risk as percentage of capital? I don't know what you mean there. Shams, yes, you can do that with most brokers. You can automatically do it. I manually do it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. So, okay, so this glimmer trade. You're long here, your stop loss is here, your target is here. You just hit the red, get ahead. At roughly the yellow line, you're supposed to move the stop to break even. Now, let's consider the effect of moving your stop to break even. So at that point, we move the stop up to here. Sometimes you're going to accidentally get it hit, like didn't quite happen here, but it could easily, a little Z when it could have zagged, could have hit you out for break even, right? That if this just went down just a little more, that would have been a break-even trade instead of a W money trade. The effect of that is to bring luck into the game. The effect of bringing luck into the game in the long run is always mathematically suboptimal. So you will always earn less money by doing that. But you will earn less money, but psychologically, it is heartbreaking if you get into a trade, goes here and it almost gets there and then comes back down and does that. That is just like really a Fredo broke my heart situation. Like it, and what that can do is start a process where you feel like the market's been unfair to you and fucked you, and then you start behaving like a fuckhead to try and get the market back. Fuck you, I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to jump in again. And then before you know it, you've taken 5 trades and you've upped your leverage and you've done all this. So what moving the stop to break even does is it costs you money and makes things psychologically easier. If you do not want to pay that money, I fully endorse that. If you can just deal with it and just leave it, if you're not going to be around, these things happen really over a long period of time. Like from here to here, this is like, 6 hours or whatever. And up to here is like 4:30 to 4:30. This is like 6 hours away. And this is like 12 hours away. If you're not going to be around in front of the screen for 12 hours, you can just leave it go. You actually make more money doing that in the long term. Okay, how long do we wait for 30-minute and 60-minute to confirm? At the time of the spike, these should be confirming. So here, for example, if we're looking at a short trade, the 30 minutes touched, the 60-minute hasn't touched, we've got no confirming evidence. Is there a minimum amount for a position? That's a very good question, Rick Smith. These perpetual futures contracts are very, very small. The minimum trades are like risking, you could risk a trade for 10 or 20 bucks. Dirk Wheeler, we're talking about using using a VPN. Do I need a subscription to see this on CoinGloss? No, it's free. Dale Williams, is there any time of day edges in the system? That is a fucking great question, man. So with our FX system, there is significant time of day edges around the system. Why? Because in any intraday system, the market goes screwy when the market opens, right? So with this system, crypto trades 24/7. There's no market open. The thing that was fucking us with FX that meant you have to be at the same time and the same screen, the same thing, that doesn't exist in crypto. So you can pick a random time. It can be different every day. Can the carry change after you place a trade? Yes, it can. What are the holding overnight rules? There are no rules. You hold the trade till it hits your stop or hits your target. Andrew, can I talk about how I manage my stop management? If I'm in front of the screen, and I'm not always in front of the screen, when I see it's hit 1 hour target, I place a little line here. When it's hit that, I move my stop. Oh, is my screen sharing, right? I move my stop to here. If I don't notice it, no big deal. It's not the end of the world. We're going to cover average percentages of profit, blah, blah, blah. And Robert, we're going to cover all that in a minute. Okay. Is there an account size minimum? I'd probably say I wouldn't bother doing this at less than $2,000. Matt Griffiths, this is we're going to cover some numbers without the carry. Actually, we did in the first webinar without the carry. This is a wash, so it's almost no edge. It's like a very small edge, but when you take into account brokerage and fees, it's a slight average. Tio, this will work with $2,000. I wouldn't go any lower than that. Lyle, personally, I manually move it because I'm rarely more than 6 or 8 hours away from the screen. You hold until it hits or doesn't. These typically happen pretty quick. So usually you're not holding overnight, you can. Patrick Actor, I'm not sure what you mean. Jim, yes, I'm making these with USDT. Louis Tondo, really good question. Can interest rates change direction while your trade is still on? Yes, they can. It rarely happens, but it can happen. What do you do in this situation? Hands off the steering wheel. You don't want to confuse things. Judy, is there a better time of day to set up trades? No, I've done a bunch of testing. There's no better time. Ray, if you're just starting out, we're going to cover this. Three times leverage. Alex, setting an alarm is the best way unless your broker can do it auto magically. All right, guys, I'm going to move on because we got more to do. All right. So there is a problem with all trading systems that take more than one trade at a time. You might have noticed it. In crypto, you will look at your account balance and most likely all of your coins have gone up or all of your coins have gone down. There is a very strong correlation between trades, especially when you put them on at the same time. I call this all the same turd problem, and it's a very tricky problem because on any given day, you'll get a bunch of price action setups which are all valid but look really, really similar. And these are, in effect, the same turd rolled in a different color of glitter. And what that means, and to people who aren't professional traders, this won't seem like a big deal, but to the guys, and I know there's a lot of you who are pros here, this is like one of the biggest deals in trading systems. It's a very, very complicated and tricky problem to solve. So what this means is that you take 5 setups, you take 5 trades, and all 5 are going to work probably, or all 5 are going to fail. It's very unlikely that 3 work and 2 don't. And the effect of this is that you radically increase drawdown since losers cluster together. So mostly you've all experienced in trading, there are times when you can't get it wrong, when you're like, bam, 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 I fucking got this. And there are times when you couldn't get a win if your life depended on it. And so what it means is you do these nice back tests, and your back test says you're going to have X amount of drawdown. You're going to have a 10% drawdown or 20% drawdown. And then in the real world, you get a 40% drawdown and you go, what the fuck? Fuck. And so solving this same turd problem, that all of our trades that we enter at the same time on the same turd rolled in a different color of glitter, is quite elegant. So when you have many different setups, you take the one where you're being paid the most positive carry to trade it. The bigger number is a stronger positive interest rate. And so we just work down our list until we take the strongest trade. If a trade with a strong edge doesn't give us a price action setup, we don't take it. We have no reason to take it, so we don't take it. We move to the next one and the next one and the next one. So congratulations, guys, achievement unlocked. You know it all now. There is nothing else. Like, that's it. Like, I promise you there's nothing else, but it's not the end of doing this for a living. It's the beginning. And if you're interested in trading this for real, I'm going to show you all the tricky stuff that you need to turn this from a cool webinar that you saw into a real business. I'm just going to assume that you will say yes. So this is how I personally work up a new system. So what I do is, paper trading is a good start, but you have to get out of paper trading pretty quick. I paper trade until I'm sure I've seen all the trick, I call them edge cases, like the tricky edge cases, and I understand the principles behind the system and not just the rules. And what I want to do is satisfy myself that it's legit and a real edge and not an artifact of, rules that might be curve fitted or rules that might be what is technically called non-stationary rules. And there's a lot of non-stationary edges are edges that disappear when they're arbitraged away. And I'm reasonably sure that this edge won't be arbitraged away because it's existed for a long time in regular finance markets. So it gives me quite a lot of confidence. So the next thing that I do is I trade for an amount that approximates a nice treat lunch for 2. That's how I do it. So I want an amount that I wouldn't just throw away. I wouldn't walk down the street throwing $100 bills away, but that doesn't actually hurt my feelings if I lose. It doesn't. So you can get quite a lot of trading experience in terms of how it feels to win, how it feels to lose, you can go on tilt trading $100 a trade, totally go on tilt. So for me, that's between $100 and $200. That's where I start. The important thing is to track mistakes, because we have 2 things, right? We have performing and we have learning. If you don't track mistakes, you're just performing. And so I'm a fighter and I go and spar. And if I go and fight someone, I'm not learning anything. I'm just assessing the level of my skill. How well can I fight? How well can you trade? That's my level. There's absolutely not one bit of improvement to be done while I'm in the ring. The improvement is all done at training when I'm practicing and drilling. And if you are trading, you want to get better at trading. That's what you want to do. You don't want to just say, I'm a good trader, and because that's the fixed mindset. I'm a good trader and I don't need to do anything. You want to track mistakes. How we track mistakes is you put an extra tab of your spreadsheet, you make a list. Every time you make a mistake, you put the day, you put the thing, you put a screenshot, and you put how much it cost you. And then at the end of the week, you go through a review, and we'll cover mistake examination in a little bit. And you want to systematically reduce your mistake rates. If you have a sole focus on reducing mistake rates, you are going to be great. If you just walk in, sit down at your computer and perform, you can't get any better, because all you're doing is just performing. And in fact, at some point you're going to get worse, because you're going to get complacent, you're going to get upset, you're going to get angry, your wife's going to get angry at you, and you're going to take it out on the computer. Like you're going to find it very difficult to maintain a level of performance. So here's how I do it. Every time I do 20 trades with one or less mistakes, I raise size gradually until I hit my target size. So if my target size is $1,000 a trade, I raise it really slowly. Really slowly. You boil the frog in water. And with day trading, I don't go too high. And I recommend you all don't go too high. You know, I have a friend who's most of you guys know him, who's trading the system. He's got over $100 million net worth, like well over $100 million net worth. And he trades $3,000 per trade. And he is a very good trader. He's a world-class trader. And that's about where it stops before your subconscious starts making you do dumb shit. Like, and sorry, these things don't scale to be $1 billion. Otherwise, they'd be billionaire day traders. There's not. This is a way. Paper trading is okay. So let's talk about this. So paper trading is a good start, but it's like learning to fuck by watching porn, and you miss the whole point. Like, you get the mechanics right, you miss the whole point. And what you're going to experience is, if you trade too big and you start making or losing 30K in a day, you'll inexplicably do really weird and idiotic things in other areas of your life. And it's because these emotions seek an outlet. You'll be angry at your cat, you'll eat pizza until you're sick, and then buy a block of chocolate, eat it again. And I've seen this many, many times, is you'll subconsciously sabotage yourself so that you lose all your money and then you can stop. And Ed Sekoda used to talk about this a lot when I was working with him. He'd say some people find the emotions of trading so stressful because they don't outlet these emotions, that they want to stop, but they feel like they can't stop. So the way that they can stop is they emotionally clock off and lose all their money. And they lose all their money on purpose so they can stop. And don't think that can't happen to you, because I've seen it happen to really, really good traders. Day trading systems really don't compound beyond a certain point for this reason. Day trading systems are for salary, guys. You know, you can earn 10 to 50K a month. That's about it. You know, take it, have a nice cup of shut the fuck up. And so it's been kind of obvious that there's something I've got for sale, and it's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it's going to keep you from making a bunch of mistakes that'll cost you money. But I want to stress, like, you don't need it. There's not one bit of information that you haven't got right now. There's nothing, you know, there's a few tricky little like things that you'd figure out eventually if you did it for a few months. Want me to show you how I can get you up and running faster with my help than on your own? And you know, I will check the chat now because I want to see if you all want me to fuck off. All right, let's do it. So if you failed at trading before, there's really only 3 possible reasons that could happen. So one, if you had a crappy system, or if you had no system at all, you probably failed. If you had a shitty system, or if you didn't have a system, almost certainly you were going to fail. And there's a lot of crappy systems out there. This system you are armed with is a very good system. The expectancy it's produced in the real world and back tests is about 0.7, and I think it's going to be above 0.5 in the long term. Very conservative numbers. Second reason, you have a good system, but you didn't take action. And that can happen. And 3, you stalled out when you hit challenges. Those are the 3 failing reasons for trading. There's nothing else. So what I'm telling you is that having a mentor solves all 3 problems. Now, there's a lot of crappy mentors out there, especially in the trading world. I've paid some crappy mentors. And how do you pick one? And it is the sad and shameful truth that the vast majority of people teaching trading on the internet failed at it. So what you want is someone who is doing the exact same type of trading that you want to do. You know, if you want to do global macro trading, I'm not your guy. If you want to be market making quant trader, I'm not your guy. You want someone who teaches a style of trading that is possible to be good at quickly, because especially discretionary trading is something where you, like, I'm a reasonable discretionary trader and I've been doing it 14 years. No way anyone's going to be good at that in the first couple of years. You want someone who has a track record of success themselves, i.e. isn't a fake. And you want someone who also has a track record of helping other people be successful. So if there's some very, very famous and good traders who can't replicate their success with the people they teach, mostly because it's all discretionary. And, you know, I got a little confession to make at this point, and, you know, I've been pretending to be this super trading guru the last few days. And, you know, I'm not even wearing pants, guys. Like, I am about as far from some asshole in a suit as you could possibly imagine. I wake up every day in my underwear and I do this for a few minutes a day. That's what I do. Let me just find my screen and share it again. That was my version of a joke, by the way. All right. Now we're sharing. So I have made it look a bit easier than it is. Like, I'll be honest, I haven't lied. You know, the whole system, there's no extra rules. There's no fine print you need. There's nothing extra that I'm going to come at you and say, you really need to buy this. But the gap between what you know now and you have a profitable trading business that makes money every week, that's a lot of work. And because this is a real system, this is not a press button, make money thing. This is a teach a man to fish thing. And let's talk about mistakes. And I want you to consider the effect of making one mistake every 10 trades. You won't even notice it. And I just want to point out that anything worth doing takes a bit of effort, and you're not going to be perfect in the first day. It's unreasonable to expect this not to be a learning curve. So let's talk a little bit about two hypothetical traders, John and Jerry. And this is something that I see all the time. So John has 50K in a portfolio, and he wants to trade this system just to pay his mortgage and bills. So he takes just $5,000 out of his 50K crypto profits, and he trades futures with it. He uses crypto margin so that if crypto still goes up, he still owns his Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin moons, he still gets all that profit. So he's not like not getting his crypto profits to trade this. So John follows my advice and he does it properly. He starts off risking just 20 bucks a trade, win or lose. John is getting a lot of valuable experience, and he's really surprised how much it pisses him off to lose $20. Especially if he loses $20 3 times in a row, he's like, it upsets him. And after a month or so, he hasn't made much money. He's earned less than he would have earned at McDonald's, but he's objectively trading at a professional level. And after discussing it with me, he decides to raise his bet size to just $250 per trade, which isn't very much for a portfolio of 50 grand. So he risks just $250 a trade, even though he can afford way more, because he's a conservative and he's a sensible guy and he wants to make money in the long term, not just make it this week. And $250 is just 0.5% of his account balance. And John looks at his portfolio and it has a standard deviation of 4% anyway, meaning that on a normal average day, it's up or down 4%. So he reasons that 0.5% is insignificant, and he's probably right. So he takes 2 trades per day, 60 trades a month. You with me? So Roberto, I more than dabbled in the porn industry, man. there was a time when I was one of the, where I did more than dabble. I've had a dodgy life. In the real world, the system hasn't performed quite as well as it does sometimes, which happens, but he's still making an average of 0.5 its expectancy, which is an average of $125 a trade. We've got to be realistic about the amount we expect to make. So his expected return is 0.5 times 250 times 60. So he's expecting to make conservatively $7,500 per month. Thanks, Dirk. Now, John can easily do better if he compounds his amount per trade instead of using a fixed value. So what I mean is if you stayed at 1% risk or 0.5% risk instead of just a fixed amount, this actually comes close to doubling your return over time. Compounding is a very powerful effect. The downside of that is that you can no longer do the maths in your head. I actually don't need a calculator because I can work out how much I need to put in without it. Of course, having a spreadsheet, which everyone should do anyway, solves that problem. So most people in practice will do that, but I don't, because I'm not trying to compound this up to the moon. So if he reloads trades once they're finished, which we just talked about, he can take an extra 30 trades per month. And I teach this in our group. Those extra 30 trades a month are going to make an average of 3,750 on top of the 7,500, making it a total of 11,250. Now that's actually conservative because reload trades have an increased edge. Now, remember, these are conservative numbers, lower than what we're currently getting in the real world, and it's not taking into account the extra 100 to 300% per annum you get from the positive carry itself. Just call that a bonus. Tom, yes, this will work in a bear market, and we know that's true because it's worked through FX bear markets and bull markets and FX sideways markets. So that's why we think it'll work. So bottom line, Journ's earning a fantastic salary while taking very little risk. He's setting himself up to earn big money for a long time to come. And he will not blow up because when he's ready to raise bet size, the sky's the limit. You know, he could trade $2,000 a trade, $3,000 a trade because he became an expert trader first. Skilled traders with an excellent system make money, period. If you don't have an excellent system and you're not a skilled trader, there's a huge amount of luck involved. If you want to take the luck out of this game, have a good system. You've got it. Become a skilled trader. Takes all the luck out of it. So let's talk about Jerry, his Dick. He's one of these guys who I've been doing it 20 years. You can't show me anything. Oh, yeah. Jerry hasn't made any money in 20 years, but he's on a bunch of Facebook groups and he's better than the numpties on there, way better. And he's pretty sure that it's just the Fed and the rigged markets that have stopped him hitting it big. And Jerry's a dumbass, but he's not that dumb. Like, he can see that the system works, but he doesn't want my help because he's been doing this 20 years and I should be learning from him where equals. And John, however, starts slow 3 weeks in before he even takes his first trade. And Jerry's laughing at him. And when he does start, he's trading only $20 per trade, and Jerry calls him a pussy. And at the end of the first month, John's only made $200. Jerry is pretty damn pleased with himself because Jerry has made $15,000 profit, risking $1,000 per trade. He's got the same account, but he's only made an average of $250 per trade, but he doesn't notice. Like, he doesn't notice at all that he's earning way, way less per trade than he should. All he notices is my account balance go up, and that's good. So Jerry doesn't even think about this. He doesn't track his mistakes. He doesn't keep proper records. He just thinks he's playing and winning. Like, I'm a good trader. I don't need to do that. So Jerry doesn't even notice that he sucks, only that his account's going up. He doesn't even think about why he's making so much less than he should, and he doesn't track his mistakes. He doesn't keep proper records. He doesn't take time to review them. And he has such a great first month. He was up $15,000 after all. He raises his position size to $3,000 per trade. He makes $15,000 the next month, but he's risking way more, but he doesn't care. Like, he's making 15 grand a month. Like, he's winning at trading, and he's never won before. He's playing and winning. He thinks he's doing great. And John is making nearly as much money with under 1/10 the risk. 1/10 the risk. John gets better every month, whereas Jerry gets worse every month. John's going to do this for a decade. When this bull market ends, he's going to do it through the bear market too, while everyone else is getting fucked. He's going to continue to stack cash. And Jerry's going to give up eventually and blame the system. John pays off his house. Family thinks he's a hero. Jerry starts trading like a dickhead and blows up. And he tears up all the money he's made in the last 6 months. Jerry misses the point. The point of all this is to be the best trader you can possibly be for a given amount of risk. If you're risking $500 a trade, $1,000 a trade, $20 a trade, the point is to be the best you possibly can. Point isn't to make the most money. The point is to make the most money with absolutely zero chance of fucking it up. Most people lose at trading because they're concentrating on making the most amount of money. If you want to win at trading, you flip the script on those idiots and concentrate on losing the least. So Jerry doesn't even realize that he's taking risk of blowing up. Stretcher trading on tilt, the market goes down for a few months, the system has a bad period, and it puts all his profits in danger, but he's too stupid to ask for help because he's been doing this for 20 years and he knows it all. In 3 months, John is a far better trader than Jerry is after 20 years. And we've seen this time and time again. Jerry is fucking better than me. And he's only been trading like a year and a half or so now. Like after like 3 months, he was as good as me. And John couldn't blow up now. He couldn't. It'd be impossible. And Jerry is a few bad months away from losing all his profits, and he needs to stay lucky. When John raises his bet size, he's now getting the maximum profit from his trading. And inside 6 months, John's pretty comfortable at $2,000 a trade. And he still makes mistakes. You know, I still make mistakes too. 1 to 2 a month. That's what so professional traders make about 1 mistake in 20 trades. Exceptional traders make rare mistakes. So we're talking like 1 a month. So John earns on average $60,000 a month. That's around $2,500 in trading fees and around $3,000 per month in mistakes. And he earns $4,000 per month in positive carry. He earns about $58,500 a month. And he started with $20 a trade, all because of a little delayed gratification, a little bit of sensibility, a little bit of cool your jets. And he's got this thing that can change his whole life. And you are now armed with a world-class trading system. Denise Taylor, excellent question. Define mistake. A mistake is taking a trade that you should not take according to the rules, or not taking a trade that you should take according to the rules. That's it. If you take a few months to become an expert trader with a world-class trading system, you will make an endless stream of profits. And the only thing that stops you is you. So, I mean, Jerry's probably going to have a happy ending here. Like the system is so powerful that even a muppet like him is probably going to make great money. But it's a hate crime just not to take the time to build yourself up slowly, track your mistakes, immerse yourself in a community of people doing the exact same thing as you and hold yourself accountable and be transparent about your results. It's idiotic not to have a coach when there's so much profit on the line, because if Tiger Woods has a fucking golf coach, you should have a trading coach. And I'd like to work with you to implement everything we've talked about today. And what I can offer you is certainty. Like I can absolutely, hand on heart, promise you we're going to get to the goal. If you think this system sounds like a money printing machine, it is if you trade it perfectly. I can make absolutely 100% certain that you earn every single dollar that's on offer. And I'll stop you from making all the beginner mistakes that everyone makes. I made them even, but when I made my beginner mistakes, I was making for very small money, you know, like $20, $50 a time, like who cares? I'll save you months or years of trial and error and heartbreak. So I can turn you into me. And I know I can do that because I've done it before. And I've done it before more times than I can count. And those of you on the webinar now from our community will know that I am one of the best trading system designers in the world, but I'm not the best trader in our group. I'm a good trader. I'm a definitely above average professional trader. But I don't even have to think too hard to come up with 5 guys that are better than me. So the best example is Sharia from Pakistan. Inside, he's a machine. Inside 5 weeks, he was at a real pro level. He was correcting me on stuff, and he's way better than me now. And you know, Ralph is always better than me, and he's breathtaking now. And Chris Wright is far better than me at this system. Simon Spall is a very solid pro. He's in the chat right now. And Paul Clark, a very good trader, going to make millions this year. Lenny Keys and his son programmed and improved my system a lot. Peter van der Roost is someone in our community who some of you know. He came up with the original concept. The original concept for this, the multiple time frame confirmation, wasn't mine. Maurizio Mayorga, who's probably in the chat, he's an absolute wizard now. His returns are amazing. Richard Walker, probably here. I would trust him to invest my own money with. Thomas Duforos is a very, very good trader, a very good algo trader, and he has mastered this system. And you know, Mark, Miklos, John Garcia, there's too many to count. Hey, Mark. Mark's a very good trader. They've truly mastered my systems. They're not like I've done a little bit. They're mastered. So my point is that I don't have students. I have community members that I collaborate with. I don't want to be up here with people down there. I want to be here. I want to be here with elite people, and I want a community of elite traders that we share ideas. We want to hold each other accountable. We want to be transparent with results, which is really important. When I'm hiding my shit, I'm trading like shit. I want to support people through the ups and downs of professional trading life, because everybody hurts sometime doing this. Like, this game can be brutal. It can really, really hurt your feelings. And I'm a pretty good trader, but my real zone of genius is designing trading systems, and I am legit one of the best in the world at that. If you want someone to design a trading system, I am that guy. And that's not bragging, that's just a fact. And I'd like you to be one of the lucky few who work personally with me over a 12-week sprint to master this, to not just get it okay, to not just learn the basics, to master it. And if that sounds like you, we'll go through what it entails in a minute. You can apply at cryptosalary.incubator.com/application. And if you aren't a good fit, we have a more comprehensive video course, which I'm going to show you today. Okay, so let me go over the course. The video course isn't, well, it's not a video course, it's a comprehensive, like, online learning thing. It's not about teaching you the rules. You already have all the rules. And our 12-week sprint isn't about teaching you the rules anyway. The way that it starts off is, so we have a bunch, you start off by doing this, and then you start working with me. I don't want to work with beginners. I am the wrong guy to teach beginner trading stuff. Any of you who've ever done any trading work with me will know that I am I have zero patience for beginner shit. I want to teach you the advanced stuff. I want to teach you the pro stuff. So we're going to get that out of the way by doing this first. So we've got a big history of the thing. I show you how to set up charts, add the right indicators, sort the perpetual funding rate. So we've got a bunch of academic papers on how the edge works, the peer-reviewed stuff. We talk a lot about the perpetual futures landscape for USA customers, choosing a broker, understanding fees, coin margin versus cash margin. We talk about reloading trades and rules. Big deep dive on first principles, position sizing, and mistakes and expected return. The pros and cons of fixed fractional position sizing versus fixed dollar, and why I use fixed position sizing, even though it's not technically optimal. And we talk about calculating it. Mistakes are the big deal. Mistakes are the worst thing a trader can do. Acceptable mistake rates, 1 mistake in 20 trades. We talk about a mistake elimination paradigm, which is one of the major things that we do in our 12-week sprint. What you're going to find is that, let me give you an example, an analogy. I had a lot of very problematical girlfriend relationships when I was younger, and it turned out that I was dating the same type of girl again and again and again, and I would get the same problems because I was dating the same damn girl. In trading is exactly like that. You will notice that all of your mistakes, most of them are the same thing, but you're just doing them again and again and again. So we want to sort them into buckets. And for me, I had like 4 major buckets of mistakes that I made, and I systematically worked at removing. There was what I call cascading mistakes were the main ones, where I would make a small innocuous mistake, and then that would set off a cascade of mistakes where I'd make 3 mistakes in 2 hours after that. And so I systematically eliminated, and I'll show you how to do it, to systematically eliminate the mistakes from your life. We use checklists because most traders think that they're too good for checklists, but they're not. We talk about handling mistakes in real times. We've got, of course, the definitive rules. I go a lot deeper into positive carry and how that works. So this is the stuff that you need to know before we can start. So let me talk about our 12-week sprint and how it works. So we're doing what you've just seen, and then in week 1 we have a welcome call together, and I set you some homework so that we don't want any. This is like a no child gets left behind sort of a thing. We don't want. If we're going in a group, we can only go as fast as the slowest person. So we have to get everyone up to a level, and we've got our coaches ready to talk you through and make sure you've got your account set up, walk you through the choices for American customers, and make sure that's done, because that's stuff that I've got no patience for, but our coaches have lots of patience for it. So week 2, we check that you've done this, and we have an accountability on it. And week 3, we set our program goals. And it's very important to set goals with anything and keep them in mind, to become a professional level trader with a negligible risk of losing money. And we talk through the topics that we're going to go through. Week 4 is all about process and record keeping, spreadsheets, screenshots, weekly reviews, position sizing to start with, like the mechanics, like the nuts and bolts of how we do it. Week 5, we're taking our first real trades. We're going to do it together on the call for the first time. And we're going to do a weekly review of my personal trades, and then you're all going to post your reviews. Now, if we can create a habit of doing weekly reviews of your trades, this is the fastest way to get good. And the fastest, for me, when I started doing all the things that professional traders do, professional traders have a system. They trade at 1 mistake in 20 trades or better. They keep proper records. They track their mistakes, and they do weekly reviews. If you're doing those 5 things, there is nothing left to do. You are a professional trader. You're as good as any guy working in an investment bank, because I know lots of them, and most of them don't do that. So if you're doing those 5 things, you have a system. The system is an edge. You're trading it at 1 mistake in 20 trades. You're keeping records. You're tracking mistakes. You're doing weekly reviews. You are a world-class trader. If you're doing those things, you're world-class, and no one can ever say any different, even if you're not even wearing pants, like I'm not wearing pants. So we do a hot seat mastermind where trading brings up feelings. Now, one of the problems with trading, especially mechanical systems, is if you get this idea that you're going to trade like a robot, and you're going to just ignore your feelings and stuff them down. It doesn't matter, just take the trade. It comes out sideways. It's always a mistake. So the whole game of trading psychology, in a nutshell, feel your feelings. So we have a few minutes for everyone to talk about the feelings that trading bring up. And what you're going to see is everybody hurts sometimes. Week 8 is all about mistake elimination paradigm, and we're going to be separating these mistakes into buckets, and we're going to reduce them for you and eventually eliminate them. And mistakes can be eliminated. We're going to do live trading the next week, and we're going to do another weekly review in QA. Week 10 is a graduation, and we're going to share our experience and what they've got out of it. And week 11, we've got some ongoing support. We're going to do trade review and more hot seats and more hot seats. So this is, I think, this is the type of experience that I wanted. It's the best thing that I can come up with. I know I've done some not particularly rigorous group courses in the past, that mainly because I think I'm an expert. I think everyone's an expert. This is not like that. This is stuff that Caroline, who's in the chat now, who's a professional at customer experience, and what all our group coaches like Ian and Paul Clark and Johan and everyone else and Simon. This is the best thing that they've come up with. So if it sounds like a good fit for you, cryptosalaryincubator.com/application. But if you aren't a good fit, you can also just get the digital course, and it's only available through the sales team. So you have to apply and just book a call, and they'll sort you out. It's pretty reasonably priced. And if you're struggling to raise capital, if you're like, I've got $2,000 in capital, well, that's your option. And lastly, I want to thank you from my heart for your time and attention these last few days. I know it's complicated stuff. I know this is not for beginners. This is a real pro trading system. This is what the professionals that my peers want for themselves. So I know this may not be for everyone, but I know for some of you, it's going to be what you've been waiting for your whole life. So I'd really like to work with you. If you, I love seeing people succeed, and yeah, I love it. I want you to succeed. Okay, now as far as materials, let me download this PowerPoint as a PDF, and let me just upload it. Let me just upload it to our Google Drive. And then I'll post that in the, okay. So that is being uploaded now, and I'll post it in the chat. So that is all the materials, all the presentation slides, the hard copy of the rules, the retest concept, the mean reversion setups, the whole box and dice. So you know, is there anyone who disagree? Anyone who thinks I'm a liar, that I didn't give you everything that you need, everything that I promised I'd give you? Like, yeah, I did what I said I was going to do, and that's the way I like to move through the world. So thank you so much for your time. CryptoSalaryIncubator.com/application. I will see you guys on the course.
Oh, hey, everybody. So the chat is coming in thick and fast. So I've been posting continuously. Everything that you need is in the chat. I will try and keep reposting again, but all you need to do is go to the chat box and just scroll up, and you'll find the answers that you seek. So I'm about to post a link to a Google Drive that will give you a text edit document. In that text edit document, it will have everything: Scott's YouTube channel, all of the setups, all of the slides, absolutely everything is in there, okay? If you want to know more about the coaching, then the link is in there, but let me drop the coaching. Now, the coaching, there is an application form for the coaching. It's not just a case of open the doors and you're in, because the worst possible result for everybody is that this course, this group is not for you, and we don't want that. So that's why we have the application form there. So just go and take a look at it. You know, you might read some of the questions on there and think, okay, well, that's made it crystal clear in my mind that this is for me and I'd like more information, or I definitely now know that this isn't for me. Okay, so just go to that form, have a read. There's no crocodiles, there's no trapdoors waiting to capture you, okay? Now, the other thing is, we do all of the information for this, and lots of other stuff is also available in the Slack channels, both in the AWCE and the Crypto Accelerator. So on that main document that I've put out, I've given you the email address for support. So if anybody's on the call now and they're thinking, what's Slack? Why don't I know about this? Then just get the email address, email support, and just say, you know, I'm not in the Slack, and Ian said that I should be, okay? That's pretty much it, guys. There's certainly nothing more that I can add to what Scott has already said. Just be sure, if you do go and check out the group coaching information, that, you know, just know that it's an application form, meaning if it's not suitable for you, then you're not going to get in, okay? So we want to make sure that it's suitable for the right people. And all the information and everything is in the text edit document that I dropped. And if you want to be the first people to get the recording and save my fingers typing the same answer 1,000 times, subscribe to Scott's YouTube channel. He puts all kinds of hidden gems onto that YouTube channel. He put out a 6-minute video of how this system works about 2 weeks ago. So anybody that was on his YouTube channel, oh, what's this? And they were there and ahead of the game. So that's pretty much it for the info to finish this off. Thank you all for coming today. And if you've got any questions, get in the Slack and fire them in the Slack. Ask the other community members, you know, don't just ping at Ian, at Ian, at Ian. I can't cope with like 500 pings. You know, see who else was in the call today, what they think about it. If there's something that you didn't understand on the call, well, the video is going to come out a bit later. Have a chinwag about it, okay? That's the whole point of Slack, is to be a community and help each other. And there is a completely separate Slack that is going to be used for anybody that comes into the coaching group. And so you're not going to have all the noise of all the other Slacks, and there'll just be a sole focus on turning you into trading machines. All right, I'm going to end the webinar now. Thanks, everybody. Michael Luban, how do I get into the Slack? You go to the document that I've posted, which I will post one last time, okay? And then if you can't get into the Slack, then you need to email the support, of which the email address is in this document, okay? But the email address is support@ScottPhillips.Trading, and then just simply say, I'm not in the Slack and I should be, and then tell them whether you're an AWCE member or whether you're a CA member, okay? And then they will get you sorted out into the Slack, okay? Can't find today's presentation, okay? So this link that I just put there, everything will be in there, dude. I'll post it for you again. So that was Todd Krebs. So here you go, Todd. I'm posting it again, okay? So this is my life in Slack. Post it again, post it again, post it again, okay? So in that document, in that Google Drive document, there's a text edit, and everything is in that document, okay? Remember, you can get all of this information by being in Slack, and if you're not in Slack, support@ScottPhillipsTrading.com is the email address, okay? I've got my finger on the end trigger. 3, 2, 1. Thanks, everybody.